everyone. It's a pleasure to be back with you. We've been on vacation for a while, so we're getting ready to start a brand new season with Generation X Paranormal on the podcast. So can't wait till that starts. Going to be first episode is going to be August 4th, so be on the lookout. But what we've decided to do is start a series of videos that have to do with what we call vignettes, something that's small that probably isn't suitable for a long format podcast, but definitely deserves its due. And today we're going to be talking about Doveland, Wisconsin. Now, Doveland, Wisconsin, it doesn't exist, at least not on any map. It's not anywhere that you're going to see any large amount of history on. No great events happen there, except for the fact that it may be a hoax that even existed in the first place. So to kind of give you an idea, there's a lot of stories floating around there. This thing kind of blew up during the pandemic. A lot of people with idle time is what I'm guessing. But aside from that, there's a lot of people that swear they've been there. Does that have something to do maybe with just being bored, wanting something to talk about during the pandemic? Maybe. Or is that a little bit of the Mandela effect? It's tough to say, but that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. So, kind of looking at the background here, we'll just kind of kick off of some of the backstory. It was somewhat considered a small town. I'm just kind of reading over some of this information, but nobody really knows where in Wisconsin this thing would have even been. And that kind of raises a lot of red flags for me. Even if you can swear you've been there before, but you don't know exactly where it is, I would think you'd have a general approximation. I mean, I live in a rural area, and there's a lot of small towns around here, but I can tell you for the most part that down this road is this particular city or this particular town, or heck, even this particular gas station that says it's a town. But I don't know, I have a lot of difficulty buying the fact that people don't even know where it was, okay? And as far as historical records, like I said, there's nothing there. But allegedly it disappeared sometime in the late 80s, or possibly even the early 90s, but nobody's really sure what happened to the town or where it went or how many people even lived there. It's just, again, most locals don't even know what Doveland is, and I'm sure if you went out to some rural parts of Wisconsin, they'd probably laugh you out of the area. But some of the things some of the theories, I should say, that are out there is that the town never existed, and it's just an internet hoax, really. And it's just one of those things people created during the pandemic. There's even all this information about a government project called Sanguine, and if just kind of boil that down, it had a lot to do with the Navy wanting to be able to basically have communications. See, certain types of communications don't go through water, so the submarines needed to be able to contact each other through aerial-based communications, and that was what Project Sanguine was about. And a lot of people theorized that this town was made up of mainly military folks, and maybe for some reason or other, they were told, hey, you need to vacate this place because we're either going to flood it, because that can happen in Wisconsin. There's a few dams that have been created and some towns have been flooded. However, there's been some kind of historical reference of that town being there. That's part of it. But maybe they told these guys, hey, you got to pull out. So all families, everybody involved had to leave. I would still think that there would be a lot of people that would remember and be able to tell you where it was on a map. And you can argue that, well, the government's just not going to let them do that. Look, I spent a lot of time in the military, a lot of time around the government. They can't control every little nuance. Now, they could come back and make your life a living hell if you were to breach that, but they can't stop everybody. And there would be some kind of accounting if that were the case. Some people say that it was just completely wiped off the map by some kind of UFO or some kind of extraterrestrial type vehicle. Again, that's one of those I don't know if I buy. I'm just kind of looking over a few more things. I think the only kernel of truth, or the only thing that that's out there is there's one particular photograph where it looks like people are sitting down at a restaurant we used to call the Melting Pot, or used to be called the Melting Pot, I should say, and they're about to enjoy some fondue. I mean, look, if that is your only proof that something existed was a picture, I got some pictures and I can show you a lot of stuff, and I can guarantee you it's not true. You know, being in paranormal research, we come across a lot of things that people claim to be true, but they're just not. But it is interesting. You can probably spend hours, and I know I did, researching this particular issue or this particular paranormal oddity. And on YouTube, there are tons of videos out there. People have covered this, so this is not, by all means, a brand new thing. But being that our show likes to pride themselves on being someone who wants to look at things from a middle-of-the-road perspective, I just have a difficult time trying to buy in that some city in Wisconsin that nobody can point to on a map disappeared sometime in the 80s. Now, I won't tell you exactly how old I am, but we did call this thing Generation X Paranormal. But I was around for the 80s, and I can still remember quite a bit, and I sure would know a town, and I could point it out on a map. Again, it's neither here nor there. But it goes to that whole plausibility factor. There are towns out there that have been, for the large part eradicated, but there's still buildings of some sort, even the ones that have been flooded. There have been a few different episodes of even I want to say, what was it, Destination, one of those shows where there was a lake that had flooded a particular area and there was still a cemetery down there. These kind of things definitely happen. That's not, I don't think, would happen here. Where are there would have to be some kind of records. When you have a city, there's what they call a corporation or an incorporation of your city to that state. There's taxing involved. There's a lot of things that go into having an actual city. And it has to do with funding, government funding, subsidies. There's way too much, there's too much meat on the bone for it to just completely vanish. Now, people say it's a cover-up. They're not going to cover up an entire city, at least not to the extent of where nobody can find it on a map, nobody knows where it was. People who would definitely still be alive that lived there haven't said a word about it, but yet you can find online, or you can buy mugs, t-shirts, all these sort of things with that particular Doveland, Wisconsin on there. Folks, I guess for us here at Generation X Paranormal, it just doesn't pass a common sense test to say that this thing existed. And I know this is a very, very hot button topic, but not everything in the paranormal has to be legit. There's a lot of people out there putting out some terrible stuff. And it's really, I think, just to either A, make a name for themselves, or B, just to have some excitement. And there's nothing wrong with the excitement part. And even, I guess, for some reason or other, trying to make a name for yourself. But I think this one's a debunk. But this is a brand new series for us. We're calling it Vignettes. Comment. Tell us what you think. Do you think this place ever existed? Do you think that somehow the government eradicated all these people and said you can't ever talk about it again? Did they take all these people and kill them and stick them in some kind of unmarked grave? I wouldn't think so, but gosh, that sounds terrible. But there would still be some kind of remnants of it. But yeah, I'm interested to see what you guys think. I know we at Generation X Paranormal, we wanted to do a full-form podcast on this, but there's just not enough there. So therefore, we're calling it Vignettes, and this is going to be a new series for us. Again, like I said at the top of the show, this is just going to be one of those things where it's definitely open topic. We want you guys to comment. We want you guys to give what you think about it, but they're just going to be little snippets of things, so they won't be very long. But good news is, August 4th, we'll be right back in the saddle again with Season 2 of Generation X Paranormal on the podcast. We're available anywhere you can get a podcast. Obviously, we're available on Spotify. We're available on Apple. Unfortunately, we were available on Stitcher. Sadly, that's no longer a thing. But we're pretty much everywhere you can put a podcast. So, hey, put us on your rotation. Listen to us. The first season a little rough trying to find our voice. Second season, we've already got some stuff lined up, some amazing interviews, a lot of great content, and we're very excited. So check us out, and thanks for watching.